واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Salawat. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Tonight I would like to talk about Hur ibn Yazid al-Riyahi. He occupies a prominent position in the history of Islam. He was brought up in Kufa and was a general of the Umayyad army. He was dispatched from Kufa with his 1,000 soldiers to intercept Imam Hussein. When Hur's army met Imam Hussein, they had already exhausted their water supply. His men and horses were so thirsty that their tongues were lolling from their mouth. When Imam Hussein saw the condition of Hur's men, he offered to them the water which he was carrying. Imam Hussein and Hazrat Abbas personally supervised this operation and not only gave to Hur's men all the water they needed, but also allowed their horses to drink to their fill. Before Hur blocked Imam Hussein, the time of Salah had come. Imam Hussein told Hur, "You lead the Salah." Look at the akhlaq of Imam Hussein. Hur replies him, "How can I lead the Salah when the son of Fatima is with us?" Hur and his 1,000 soldiers prayed behind Imam Hussein. Hur then asks Imam Hussein, "Where are you going?" Imam Hussein replies, "I am going to Kufa." And Hur said, "Why?" To which Imam Hussein replied, "That the people of Kufa have called us. There is oppression and the right of the Ahlul Bayt have been taken." Hur said, "What do you mean that the people have called you?" Imam says that these are the letters written from the people of Kufa saying to come to Kufa. Hur said to Imam Hussein that he did not know anything about this, and for Imam Hussein to wait while he reported this back. The news came back to Hur, and Hur tells Imam Hussein, "I cannot let you go to Kufa." To which Imam Hussein told him, "May God deprive your mother of you." Hur replied Imam by saying that if you were the son of any other mother, I would have insulted you, but how can I insult your mother? When Hur cut off Imam Hussein's route and forced him to proceed to Karbala, he was under the belief that a peaceful solution could be found in the cause of negotiation with Umar ibn Sa'd. Little did he realize that the army of Umar ibn Sa'd would dare to spill the blood of the Prophet's grandson and his beloved ones. On the 9th of Muharaam, the enemy's forces led by Umar ibn Sa'd was ready to initiate battle against the camp of Imam Hussein. In response, the Imam requested one more day. The request was granted. Imam, his family and companions spent the night in prayers. Hur was feeling conflicted. When asked the cause, he said, "Ukhayru nafsi bayna al-jannati wan-nar." I need to make a decision between heaven and hell, and I decide to go and join Abu Abdullah. When he approached Imam Hussein, he kept his head down. He couldn't look him in the eye. He addresses Imam by saying that, "May I be your ransom, son of the Apostle of God. I was the one who made you stop at this place, but I did not think that the people would refuse to respond to what you have offered them, and that they would ever come to this position with regard to you. By God, if I had known, I would not have committed what I have committed against you. I repent to God for what I have done. Will you accept my repentance?" "Yes," replied Imam Hussein, "God will forgive you." Hur insisted on being the first to go fight for Imam Hussein. Imam Hussein exchanged his final greetings with Hur, and Hur turned towards the army of Umar ibn Sa'd. He fought very bravely, and no one could defeat him one-on-one. Umar ibn Sa'd then told his soldiers to surround him, and he was struck on the back of his head. He fell on the ground and called out to Abu Abdullah. Imam Hussein came to him, looked him in the eye, and said to him, "You are like what your mother named you, free in this world and free in the hereafter." I admire Hur because he repented, chose the righteous side, fought for Imam Hussein even though he knew it guaranteed death instead of the side which was on the wrong and had a big army. I pray that may Allah bless us all to go and visit the shrine of Abu Abdullah and his companions. Salawat.
Ahsan, thank you, Jawad, and thank you to Sister Sabiha's team who has prepared really good youth presentations for this year. Without further ado, if I can make the same request for everybody to come towards the front and welcome Sheikh Jafar to the member with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
الأنبياء واجب الصلوات اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد رسالت
رسول الله
نعرے حیدری
آمين
دشمنان اہل بیت پر لعنت سکوندی امام زمانہ بلند تر صلوات
اللهم صل على محمد
وآل محمد
محمد
نعرے حیدری لی مولا لی مولا
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين الحمد لله الأول فلا شيء قبله ولا آخر فلا شيء بعده والظاهر ولا شيء فوقه والباطن فلا شيء دونه والحمد لله على كل حال وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين أرواحنا له فداء أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ويجعلون لله البنات سبحانه ولهم ما يشتهون وإذا بشر أحدهم بالأنثى ظل وجهه مسودا وهو كظيم صدق الله العلي العظيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. First and foremost, I give my condolences to all of you on the occasion which we have come to commemorate, and that is the shahadat of Imam Hussein, his Ahlul Bayt, and his companions. As we mentioned that the topic which we are discussing is the role of women in Islam. Something that is very important to understand and to comprehend, as it was a part of the mission of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. To change this perception that existed before the final revelation was revealed to him, and that was there was a very negative and very bad disposition in which people had towards women. And so we see those in the Meccan verses, bringing some of the attitudes that existed. One of those, as we recited last night, which is very familiar with, everyone's very familiar with, in Surah At-Takwir, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He speaks about the custom of burying the daughters. But on the other hand, the Prophet, he came to change this. Something that even when we look in our present time as well, we still see it exist. At times there's negative perceptions about women. And so this has to be changed. It was part of the mission of Rasulullah. It was part of the mission of Imam Ali, Imam al-Hassan, and even Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam. Last night we gave the example of Hababa al-Walabiyya, one of the companions, female companions of Imam Hussein. One of the female companions, again, who she had proof, al-Hujjah, or that which was Hujjah, of the imamat from Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib to Imam Ali ibn Musa Rida alayhi salatu wasalam. And she mentioned one thing there. I want to just kind of go over it. Just simply, unfortunately, during these blessed months, these sacred nights, we only have a very few minutes, a limited time in order to discuss things. So not only did Brother Abbas, he said that, yeah, if you blink or you sleep, you'll miss something. Even someone also said that, yeah, after this discussions, that, people have to reflect upon, what has been said, what has been stated. People have to think about these things. And yes, this is something that must be thought about. The methodology that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He put forth in the Meccan verses versus the methodology that was put forth in the Medini verses. As I said, that as a general rule, that the Meccan verses came to change the thought pattern, the ideology. The Medini verses came to put that into practice. Not simply it should remain as a thought or as an ideology. Those things that were negative had to be changed and then replaced with a better perception, whether it's of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this creation of humanity itself. And then with the Medini verses, some of those things were prescribed in law, that how to maintain that new ideology. So you mentioned that. Hababa also, she stated something, and again, it's a very subtle indication of this, which maybe, as some have said, is maybe these issues are kind of complex, or these things are discussed and we have to think about them, but yes, this is what we have to do. On one hand, yes, we commemorate, but this is not simply a moment where we leave and not gain anything from the life of Imam Hussein. That sacrifice was so that Islam would remain. So if we come and, we just want to cry, but then we learn nothing about Islam, then we've not understood the sacrifice that Imam Hussein made. We've not understood the sacrifice that all of the Imam alayhim, all of the Ahlul Bayt have made. What is that thing that indicates towards this also? What Hababa, she stated. She stated that she narrated a hadith, or it was stated that she narrated a hadith from Imam Hussein, alayhi stating that we in our Shia are on that fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent the Prophet Muhammad upon. But what exactly is that fitrah? And we're not going to discuss that now, but it needs its own time period to really understand and comprehend what is the fitrah. Just very quickly and simply, one of the scholars, he mentioned, he says that the fitrah, he says, you'll find two types. He says, fitratul aql and fitratul qalb. The fitrah of the intellect and the fitrah of the qalb, of the heart, our desires, those things which we're inclined to. And the fitratul aql, again, those things, again, which we are intellectually inclined to. And if one follows the path of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, without doubt, a part of that fitrah which is developed and nourished, and this is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent the prophets, and this is what Imam Ali, he says that the prophets were sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, to nourish the fitrah. But what fitrah? What is that fitrah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He sent the prophets to nourish, to enhance? Part of that is fitratul aql. And this is why the Ahlul Bayt, alayhim salatu wasalam, that they emphasize time and time again, to learn, to study, to read the Quran, to understand the words of Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This is why, again, the Prophet of Allah, he himself, he states, and this is a very famous hadith among the believers, among the Muslims, all Muslims, Ana madinatu ilm wa aliyun babuha. That I am the city of knowledge, that the Prophet is saying, and Ali is his gate. Ana madinatul hikmah, I am the city of wisdom, wa aliyun babuha. I'm the city of wisdom, and Ali is his gate. You want to understand that wisdom, you want to understand that knowledge, and you have to go through the gate, the door. So they're enhancing that fitratul aql. And those who follow that path, and that's the name that, again, not only the Prophet, he has stated that those individuals are the Shia. Those are the ones who follow Ali. Imam Ali, alayhi himself, he stated, he said, Shi'atuna kan nahl. لو عرفوا ما في أجوافها لأكلوها. Again, if we are claiming to be the Shia of Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, of Imam Hassan, of Imam Hussein, then again we should be like Imam Ali states. He says, our Shia are like honeybees. They're like honeybees, and if someone knew what was in the belly of that bee, they would eat what is in the belly of the bee. In other words, those who are, again, the Shia of Ahlul Bayt, those who are following the teachings of Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, again, they have to have, again, that knowledge, understanding of Quran, understanding of what is meant in the Quran, understanding of the Sunnah of Rasulullah, and how that Sunnah is, it is embodied, how it is practiced. And this is why, again, Hababa, she narrated this from Imam Hussein. He says, yes, those who are our Shia, and then they're on that path, on that fitrah. Because throughout the history of Islam, again, there were no one more knowledgeable than the family of Rasulullah. This again, we look at the history during the time of Imam Hassan, Imam Ali, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussein, of course, after Rasulullah, up to Imam Hassan al-Askari, whenever it is spoken about those individuals who were the bodies and of knowledge, they always pointed to the A'imma alayhim salatu wasalam. Even the Khulafa, they would say that there was no one more knowledgeable than them. And if we are following that path, again, we must gain from them. And be, as Imam Ali says, like that honeybee that has within it, it contains within inside, and we must contain inside of us that which is, again, like that honey, nourishing. It is a shafa. It is sweet. And what is more sweeter than the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ma'rifat of Allah? What is more sweet than knowledge of the Quran? So going back to our topic, I recited one of the verses, and this is actually two verses, verse 57 and 58 of Surah An-Nahl, the chapter of the bee. And therein, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, He points out another aspect of the perception that people had with regards to women. And that is, it was one of negativity. How so? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He states that the Arab at that time, and again, we may find some people doing the same thing as well now, that whenever a daughter was born, then these individuals, they became sad. And what they would do, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala states, وَيَجْعَلُونَ لِلَّهِ الْبَنَاتِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَلَهُمْ مَا يَشْتَهُونَ. He said that they will make for themselves, or make for Allah, or they ascribe to Allah, that no, only Allah has daughters. And according to the commentaries, what they perceived or what they considered, at least, again, these are individuals who had some sort of understanding, at least of the divine realm, because at least according to some of the commentaries and some of the hadith, it says that what they considered is that the angels, al-malaika, that they're all girls. And these are the daughters of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But for themselves, they only wanted, what? Boys. So in their way to get that was, well, we'll bury our daughters and then we'll make sure that we have a boy. If we have a boy, then we'll leave him alive, and otherwise we will bury the daughter. Nowadays, we don't have to bury. We can just start modifying the genetics and, oh, well, you know what? Let's inject this hormone and that hormone, and it becomes a boy. And sometimes it happens. Some people, no, we want a boy. And we don't want a girl. Or we want a boy with this color, that color, this feature, this color eyes. Again, we do this. Rather than being satisfied that, look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will, again, shape and fashion what He wants in the womb. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and again, in this verse where He speaks about how they felt when their daughters were born, He says, ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. Again, they frowned. They looked gloomy and they were sad. They were disappointed. Oh, I had a girl. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right away, even in this verse, He's changing the perception. How so? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَإِذَا بُشِّرَ. Bushra. That they're giving good news that they had a daughter. But yet they've changed it. They don't want that. This negativity with regards to women, and unfortunately we don't have much time, but this negativity is something that, again, it's surmounted over time. Even in the history of this country, and the history of many countries. Particularly here, I would say that, again, there was a time when, yes, women were not considered people. Anyone who was not of European or male European descent, they weren't considered human beings, full people. This is a reality. And if you look at some of the early debates, even about the Constitution, we the people, who were the people? This is one of the things that was mentioned. This is why there was no voting rights for women or anyone who was not a European male. Yes, there was a battle, there was a struggle to change that. And in that struggle to change that rose up this ideology of feminism. And what that did as well, and it still exists, and it's something that even as Muslims, we have to understand that. What is this? And what is their disposition? And what is our position as Muslim? That's thought and that ideology, it came and it pitted men against women. That is a struggle. And to some extent, you may think, oh, yeah, well, that's natural. Yes, if you treat someone wrong, they're naturally going to rebel. So you say, oh, well, you men, you didn't like us. You treated us this way or that way. So you know what? I'm going to do a tit for a tat. Because you didn't like me, I'm not going to like you. If you do this, I'm going to do that. And this is, again, the thought pattern that has risen in many societies. And unfortunately, even among some of the Muslims, that they take this perception that, well, because, oh, well, everything is interpreted according to a patriarchal type of interpretation of the Quran and of the Hadith. So now we're going to go to the other extreme and interpret everything with a feminist disposition. No, this is talking about women. But then there's no balance in that. And this is not what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He presented in the Quran. This is not what the Sunnah of Rasulullah and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salatu wasalam has put forth. Because with that disposition, what ends up happening is family begins to get disrupted. The balance of family is disrupted. Why? Because women are like, well, there's no pride in being a wife or a mother or a sister. Why? Because they look at that as, oh, well, I'm being defined in light of who my male counterpart is, whether it's my father, whether it's my husband, whether it's my brother. Even to the point that, again, this is very interesting. I'm not sure how much folks are familiar with this. Even the idea of Miss, M-S period, versus Miss, M-I-S-S period, or Mrs., M-R-S period. So before a long time, it was someone who was not married, a woman who was not married, you call her Mrs., M-I-S-S period. And if she was married, you distinguish her by M-R-S period, Mrs. But again, to show you, again, how it became such a tit for a tat, is they say, no. What we'll do, we'll say M-S period, Mrs. or Ms. So with this, you can't tell whether a woman is married or not married. This was their disposition. Why? Because, again, this negative attitude that was portrayed towards women. So then, again, they rebel. It says, well, we want to be defined in our own terms, rather than by the men who we are associated with. And this is because there's an imbalance in the interaction and the understanding, again, of the position and the role of women. This imbalance exists. And so that was an effort to, again, to bring some sort of balance. But is that the right way and right manner? If we look at the wisdom of Islam, we'll see that no, this is not the correct way. That the perception has to be changed. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran He has done. This is what the Prophet, and this is what the Ahlul Bayt alayhim afsalatu wasalam in their, you say, movement and their teaching of Islam have done. So right away, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He spoke that, yes, when the baby girl is born, Allah says, Bushira. It is a blessing. It is a ni'mah that you have a daughter. He's changing your perception. And then if you are someone who is married, again, one of the Meccan verses, this is Surah Al-Rum, verse 21, wherein Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنَّ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. And this is a very interesting verse. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, it is among His signs that He has created from yourselves azwajan. So that He's created from yourselves what? A spouse. So that you may go towards that spouse and you will find tranquility and contentment. And He has created between you love, mawadda, and mercy, rahmah. Mawadda and compassion. Love and compassion. And this is what you're supposed to have between husband and wife. This is the relationship that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is seeking. But also, let me point out this point, because quite often in the translations you won't get this. And in fact, this is one of the things that some of the women are like, oh, well, why is it translated that way? That He has created from among you azwajan, spouses. So they say, oh, well, He's created from women. He's created women from what? From the rib of man. This is not what this verse says. It says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created from among you. Among who? Insan. Among human beings, among your souls, He has created a mate. And azwajan, because it is plural, the pronoun that returns back to it, the taskunu ilayha, is feminine, but it's not talking about women, that women are created from men. It has nothing to do with that. But unfortunately, because of, again, some of the preconceived ideas, and even within Christianity, and some who came out of Christianity, Judaism, into Islam, when they saw this and they read this, they said, oh yeah, this is what it means. And unfortunately, even in our translations of the Quran, it creeps in. That, oh yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has created from the male its spouse, its mate, so that you can go towards your mate, your spouse, and have tranquility. But it doesn't say anything. It does not mean that. It just means that He has created the souls, nafus. He has created the souls of man, and those souls He has paired together. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has paired together. He has created those souls in pairs, and when those souls, they come together, and in this world they're supposed to come together, when they come together, they should be a source of tranquility, a source of comfort, and a source of compassion for one another. And there's some other stuff, but unfortunately the time is short. But one thing I will not overlook is this. You want to understand this in the sunnat of Ahlul Bayt alayhim afdalus salatu wasalam, then look at this poem. This is a poem of Imam Hussein alayhi afdalus salatu wasalam. A poem of the Imam. To whom? To his wife Rubab and his daughter Sukaina. The Imam, he states, or it is ascribed to the Imam, لَعُمْرُكَ إِنَّنِي لَأُحِبُّ دَارًا تَحِلُّ بِهَا سَكِينَةُ وَالرُّبَابُ أحبهما وأبذل جل مالي وليس بلائمي فيها عتاب ولست لهم وإن عتبوا مطيعا حياتي أو يغيبني التراب. The Imam, he states, he says that he swears by his life that he loves the house wherein Sukaina and Rubab are. And this is, again, a means of eloquence. He says, if they're in that place, then I love that place. And one narration of this poem, it says, لَعُمْرُكَ إِنَّنِي لَا أُحِبُّ دَارًا تَحِلُّ بِهَا سَكِينَةُ وَالرُّبَابُ أُحِبَّهُمَا. It says, I don't love the place. And again, this is perhaps more of a commentary of, it's not that that place is beloved, but it is Sakina and Rubab that are my love. And if they're in that place, then I love that place. Simply because of them, because of their being, because of their existence in that place. And he says, and I will sacrifice everything for them. أحبهما, I love them. وأبذل جل مالي وليس بلائمي فيها إتاب. And I will give all of what I possess to them. And if anyone has a problem with that, if anyone, again, chastise me for that, he says, then it doesn't make a difference. That I would not listen to, again, their rebuke. I would not listen to, again, their negativity. He says, whether in my life or whether I am put into the grave. This is Imam Hussein showing love for his daughter, love for his wife. And likewise, Rubab, she has a poem for Imam Hussein. This is something, quite often we don't understand this, or at least these things are not mentioned. And we think, oh, well, the Imams are, but okay, they have this high level of knowledge. Yes, they do. But again, they're teaching us the most simplest of things. That if we are to be their followers, again, we have to observe that verse of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, He's created these souls, this mate that you have, so that you will have tranquility, compassion, and love. And here it is in the poem of Imam Hussein. Here it is in the poem of Rubab, where she says, إِنَّ الَّذِي كَانَ نُورًا يُسْتَضَاءُ بِهِ بِكَرْبَلَاء قَتِيلٌ غَيْرُ مَدْفُونٍ سِبْتَ النَّبِي جَزَاكَ اللَّهُ صَالِحَةً عَنَّا جنبت خسران الموازين قد كنت لي جبلا صعبا ألوذ به وكنت تصحبنا بالرحم والدين ولليتامى من لليتامى ومن للسائلين ومن يغني ويؤوي إليه كل مسكين ولله لا أبتغي سحرا بسحركم حتى أغيب بين الرمل والطين. She states that the one who was a light, a shining light on the plains of Karbala, the one who was martyred on the plains of Karbala and was not buried on those plains of Karbala. She's speaking of those 3 days that Imam Hussein, that after the Shuhada had fell on the plains of Karbala, they were not buried. The grandson of Rasulullah, she says, Jazakallah, thank you, this grandson of Rasulullah, for your righteousness and for you protecting us and keeping us away from every destruction. You are my rock, my solid rock, my mountain, Jabalan Sa'aban, that I was pleased with. And you interacted with us. kunta tashabuna. What was the manner in which the Imam Hussein, he interacted with Rubab? Birrahmi wa dini. With compassion and with faith. A beacon of light towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the disposition we should have in our families. And who is there for the yatim and for those who ask and for the miskeen? Who will, again, comfort them? Who will aid them other than Hussein? And she states that I swear by Allah, I would not want any other spouse, any husband other than you, until I am buried too beneath the sands. This is the love and compassion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to have. This is the love and compassion that after the shuhada fell to the plains of Karbala, that they no longer experienced from Imam Hussein. This Imam, as we mentioned, who had to leave from Medina, fleeing from Medina to Mecca, spending Sha'ban, Ramadan, Dhul Qa'dah, and part of Dhul Hijjah in Mecca. Not able to complete his Hajj. Not able to make it to the Mount of Arafah. In fact, because of the plot to take his life in Mecca, this sacred place where nothing should be killed, not even a gnat, not even a lice should be killed in the sacred grounds of Mecca, there was a plot to kill Imam Hussein. And he had to change his Hajj to Umrah so that he can flee from Mecca. Imagine the son of Mecca and Medina having to flee from Mecca and Medina. Having to flee, as one of the poets, he stated that he fled from Medina. Just as Musa, he fled from the clutches of Fir'aun. He says he fled khaifan, out of fear. But it was not fear for his own life. It was fear for the deen. It was fear for the mu'mineen. That if he did not go forth, if he did not stand up, then there would be no deen today. That was the fear of Imam Hussein. خرج الحسين من المدينة خائفا كخروج موسى خائفا يتكتم وقد انجلى عن مكة وهو ابنها. That he fled from Mecca and he was a son of Mecca. وبه تشرفت الحطيم وزمزم. That by Hussein, the Khatam, the split in the Kaaba, it took its sharaf, it took its nobility. That the Zamzam, it took its nobility from Hussein. It's Hussein, it's from Medina to Mecca. Hussein flees against enemies, to Allah he pleads. That if he had remained in Mecca, if he had remained to go to the Mount of Arafah, and we read the dua of Arafah, there he made dua that, oh Allah, wansurni ala man zalamani. He made dua that, oh Allah, help me against those who will oppress me. But this year when Imam Hussein, he went to Mecca, he could not make it to Arafah. He could not make this dua where he's asking Allah that, oh Allah, protect me from those who will oppress me. So in this year, what happened to Imam Hussein? That he was was oppressed and he was martyred on the plains of Karbala. He did not make it to the Mount of Arafah where he could ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as he had asked before in the previous years in his dua of Arafah. Allahumma kashif kurbati. That, oh Allah, remove from me all calamities. No, but this year Imam Hussein, he will be taken to the plains of Karbala, the land of calamities, the lands of tribulation. You will not be able to ask Allah on the Mount of Arafah. Wastur awrati. Oh Allah, cover me up on the day of Ashura, on the plains of Karbala. Imam Hussein, he will seek old clothes to put beneath his clothes. Why? Because when he will be martyred on the plains of Karbala, they will rip his clothes from him. So he wants something to at least cover him. This dua would not be able to be made. Oh Allah, cover me. واستر عورتي لبيك يا الله يا الله لبيك. His Hussein, son of Fatima and Ali, grandson of النبي, مثل ابن فاطمة يبيت مشردا ويزيد في لذاته متنعم. Oh Allah, here's Hussein, the son of Fatima, fleeing from land to land, while Yazid relaxes with every luxury at hand. يضيق الدنيا على بني محمد حتى تقاذفه الفضاء الأعظم. Repelled from the side of his grandfather, Rasulullah, قد أخرجوه من جوار جده مشردا بأهله وولده. In no land is he received, but there's only one place in which he will stand. He will make his last stand in the lands of Karbala. إلهم الله التجا ليحتمي وهو أمان مكة والحرام. He flees to Mecca. He flees to Mecca to be guarded in the sacred land. But there he will not find safety. Don't you know that Hussein, he is the protector of these lands? From a long time, it was the Quraysh, it was the clan of the Quraysh that were the protectors of the Kaaba. But Hussein, he's not even allowed to remain in Mecca or in Medina. He will be taken to the plains of Karbala. Wa Hussein, wa Hussein, wa Hussein.